Hello and welcome to another marvelous video. I'm your host Will. After successfully adapting Pennywise the Clown to the big and silver screen, naturally, the studios are going to look to another Stephen King stories to adapt. And in this video, we're going to talk about the adaptation of the Dark Tower series. Let's get to it, shall we?
Stephen King fans hold the Dark Tower novel series close to their heart, and so does the author himself. He has stated multiple times that the Dark Tower is his favorite project, and in the afterword of Wizard and Glass wrote, "I have written enough novels and short stories to fill a solar system of the imagination, but Roland's story is my Jupiter, a planet that dwarfs all the others. I'm coming to understand that Roland's world, or worlds, actually contains all the others of my making." Yes, we have a pretty good idea that the Dark Tower serves the central point of King's fictional universe, and honestly, I've always felt that with the Dark Tower, King did not just pen a story, he created a rabbit hole. But the thing is, as much as we love Roland Deschain and the larger lore in the books, we cannot deny that the series is rather complex, and King himself said in an interview that the Dark Tower books are this total scramble. It's got the Western thing going on. It's got the fantasy thing going on. There's an element of science fiction in all of that. That means adapting them for the screen is a Herculean task, and after a couple of failed attempts, one of Stephen King's ardent fans, the brilliant filmmaker Mike Flanagan, is ready to give it a shot. So let's check out everything we know about Flanagan's upcoming Dark Tower project. Roland Deschain has already made his on-screen debut in 2017. Director Nicolas Arcel cast Idris Elba as Roland, and even King was hopeful about the film. He approved the casting decision and said, "To me, the color of the gunslinger doesn't matter. What I care about is how fast he can draw, and that he takes care of the quartet." However, the movie missed the mark and the critics called it boring and flavorless. The film also managed to score a shameful 16% on Rotten Tomatoes. Most importantly, King was absolutely not happy with the final product and the decision to make it a PG-13 film to appeal to a larger audience. He specifically said that the rating decision caused severe toning down of necessary elements in the film, which then failed to impress audiences and reviewers. He said in an interview, "The real problem, as far as I'm concerned, is they went into this movie, and I think this was a studio edict pretty much. This is going to be a PG-13 movie. It's going to be a tentpole movie. We want to make sure that we get people in there from the ages of, let's say, 12 right on up to whatever the target age is. Let's say 12 to 35. That's what we want. So it has to be PG-13. And when they did that, I think that they lost a lot of the toughness of it, and it became something where people went to it and said, well, yeah, but it's really not anything that we haven't seen before." After this film failed, Glenn Mazzara, best known for being the showrunner of AMC's The Walking Dead, decided to try his luck with Roland. His initial plan was to use Roland's younger years and the events surrounding Wizard and Glass as the basis for his narrative, but he eventually reworked the concept into something broader. Why? Because he had a long-term plan to make viewers experience the young Roland's tragedy first. You know, his relationship with Susan and losing his loved ones, and used the Wizard and Glass story before Mazzara reached the main storyline. And that meant the gunslinger's journey with Eddie, Susanna, Jake, and Oi would not have begun till around Season 3. And Amazon did go ahead with Mazzara's plan. A pilot for the show was indeed shot with Sam Strike as the young Roland Deschain and Jesper Pakonen as Martin Broadcloak. Mazzara recalled that they spent months editing it and working on the visuals and background music. The pilot reportedly began with a young Roland chasing Martin across the desert, similar to the iconic opening of The Gunslinger. He was supposed to be driven by vengefulness after learning about Martin's relationship with his mother, Gabrielle, and then Roland's journey would have eventually brought him to Hambry, where he would meet Susan Delgado. Cuthbert and Elaine were also supposed to be part of the story. However, in January 2020, Amazon decided not to go ahead with the Dark Tower adaptation, and there was news that the executives felt like the pilot reportedly didn't match the quality of Amazon's other big fantasy shows, like The Wheel of Time and The Lord of the Rings. But Mazzara himself framed the problem more as one of accessibility and risk, and said, "Ours was probably not as accessible. It was a strange world, so it came with a greater risk." And continued, "I can't say I have any regrets. I'm happy with what we did." Fans almost lost hope about getting a faithful The Dark Tower adaptation, but then in December 2022, we got the best news. and it was none other than Mike Flanagan, who had already established his expertise with Stephen King's work, preparing to bring Roland back to the screen. Flanagan has been obsessed with this novel series and has been very rigid about how the 2017 movie cannot be the only adaptation, and said, "We can't let that be the final word. We really can't." Interestingly, when Flanagan and his producing partner Trevin Macy revealed that they had acquired the rights through their company Intrepid Pictures, Amazon was not attached to the project. The Haunting of Hill House creator told Deadline, "Predating our deal with Amazon, we acquired the rights to The Dark Tower, which, if you know anything about me, you know it has been my holy grail of a project for most of my life." Now, this was back in 2022. And according to Flanagan, who has been dreaming about the first shot, which comes right off at the incredible sentence of the first book, The Gunslinger, had already written a pilot and decided that it was going to stretch out over 5 seasons. He continued, "I have a pilot script I'm thrilled with, and a very detailed outline for the first season, and a broader outline for the subsequent seasons. I think eventually, if we're able to get it going, there are some other writers I want to fold into that process whom I've worked with before. I think they would be really fabulous for a very small, intimate writer's room where we can continue to break it." And the best part was Stephen King loved Flanagan's idea. The filmmaker said, "I sent him a very detailed outline of what I wanted to do with it, and it was in response to that he gave us the rights. A project like this, I wouldn't want to be involved in it at all if we were taking it in a direction that was going to be blasphemous to the Stephen King material. But he's been very supportive and very excited about what we'd like to do with it." King, who jokingly called Flanagan the King Whisperer, told fans in an episode of the Kingcast, "I've seen screenplays and pitches. He starts where he should start. The beats are perfect. They're just perfect. But if you think about it, the project is taking too long given it was announced over more than 3 years ago. So what happened? In 2023, Flanagan assured us, "I feel really good about where we are. Oddly, where we are at the moment is completely frozen because of the strike, but we had a wonderful spring with it and we're making enormous progress on it." Yeah, the 2023 Hollywood strikes affected almost every production, and Flanagan's Dark Tower was among them too. However, we knew that it was happening and that some actors were circling the project. But in 2024, Flanagan revealed that his Dark Tower series has faced 2 major delays despite it being his first priority. He told The Hollywood Reporter, "That thing's launching an oil tanker, but we're working on it. It was stalled first by me moving from Netflix to Amazon and stalled again by the strikes. It's progressing, and we're further along than we've ever been on it. I do see future components to some of the other stories, but the main storyline is an ongoing series." Then last year, he told us something which was a little concerning because he was facing problems with the rights. See, The Dark Tower extends far beyond the 7 main novels and is deeply connected to several other books in King's bibliography. Father Callahan from Salem's Lot eventually becomes an important character, while the Stand's Randall Flagg, too, serves as the main antagonist. Other novels, including Hearts in Atlantis and Insomnia, also play significant roles in the larger mythology. Now, for Mike Flanagan, this creates a major problem, especially because he wants to make the most faithful adaptation possible. And since some of the connected books are controlled by different studios, like Salem's Lot and Hearts in Atlantis belonging to Warner Brothers, Flanagan has to negotiate across to those elements. He explained, "Randall Flagg you have to have, and there's others where it's just like, okay, you have to get into Father Callahan. That's not negotiable, which means you're going to Warner Brothers because they've got Salem's Lot. You gotta talk to them. Crimson King is actually a whole different thing because there's a history of adaptation with Hearts in Atlantis, which pulls in all sorts of stuff based on that deal that shouldn't have been pulled in because it's not in the movie." He also said that it covers so many other things that are owned by so many other people. Pulling it all in and negotiating that stuff literally can take more than a year just with the lawyers. So it's moving at the pace the fastest it can. Now, finally, in February 2026, we got the update that the scripts for the season were completed, and Flanagan told Doof Media, "The scripts for the first season are wonderful. I'm so happy with them. Stephen King is very happy with them. He's been through it with his adaptations. He'll tell you he's not pleased, and this one means more to him than any of the others, so the pressure is huge." Then, in July this year, he told Entertainment Weekly, "Getting the green light on Dark Tower is a much longer and more involved process than anything else I've ever approached in my life. But that's not bad news. because right now, we're just waiting for Amazon to greenlight the series, and given they are already working with Flanagan on Carrie, Amazon is not likely to turn down the filmmaker. I mean, sure, Amazon might be hesitant, but Mike Flanagan's determination tells us that he will make The Dark Tower reach the screen sooner or later. Maybe he's prioritizing Carrie right now, and has his plate full with the upcoming Exorcist movie, but he's kept fans assured by saying, "I'm very optimistic that we're on a great path with that. We have good partners. We can't talk about it, but I think it's going to happen. I can't say for certain, but we look good. So I'm hoping that's up there." But yeah, I'm not really sure how much of Flanagan's original ambition will materialize because ideally he wants 5 seasons and 2 movies. And the deal he signed with Amazon primarily covers television rather than film. Yet this multi-year overall television deal with Amazon MGM Studios, which brought his Red Room Pictures banner exclusively under the studio to develop and produce original series for the streamer, seems like a positive sign for the Dark Tower series finding a home on the platform. Coming to casting, as of now, we don't have any official information, but fans are heavily speculating one name: Rahul Kohli. Flanagan has a habit of working with the same cast, and Kohli has been one of those people who appeared in several of his projects, like The Haunting of Bly Manor, Midnight Mass, and The Fall of the House of Usher. Interestingly, when a fan posted about Kohli being suitable for Roland, Flanagan reposted it and teased that he's destined for greater things. Neither Flanagan nor Kohli has confirmed the idea, but he remains the most persistent fan favorite for Roland. The series, which according to Flanagan might bring back some of the writers he has worked with before and have a very small, intimate writer's room, is definitely one of the most awaited projects right now. And that's all we have for today, guys. It seems like Stephen King fans have a whole lot of new projects to look forward to. Apart from the Dark Tower series, we have a release date for Flanagan's Carrie, as well as some updates on his development of The Mist. Do check out our videos on the channel. Oh boy, it's going to be an amazing ride. Let us know which Flanagan King adaptation you're most excited about in the comments below, and if you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We'll see you in the next one. Bye!